Indication of Abu Amar's interpreting Ibal as clouds, nor any other lexiconist. Even the modern standard Arabic dictionary, Al-Manjid, does not give any such interpretation, although Tajul Aris is one of the sources of Al-Manjid. However, there is no justification whatsoever for the interpretation of Ibal into clouds. There are two questions here. 1. The connection of the verse 18 to 20 to the previous verses. 2. What is the justification of bringing these sentences into conjunctive clauses? The answer to number 1 is that it is connected with the first verse of the surah in conveying a warning, and the answer to number 2 is that these 4 wonders of nature referred to in the verses were the most familiar scenes to the people of the driest regions of the earth. The camel and its wonderful structure and utility. In the desert with the heavens raised over it, the raised mountains, the plain desert, being within the observation of everyone while the other sceneries of nature might not be available to all. Thus, Quran draws the attention of man to the simplest verses of the book of nature, showing that even there are sufficient signs to prove the purposefulness of creation. AP. Verse 21 to 22. The duty of an apostle of God is only to preach the faith and teach the people its practice and show them the right ways of life. It is not for the apostle of God to watch the people against their wickedness, or to punish them. Musaitir here is used in sense of compelling one to any action, i.e. Compeller 9, as otherwise the prophet and his successors represent God as his vicegerent to execute the divine legislative will, and it is in absolute conformity with it. AP. The holy prophet sent for the young man and said, Glad tidings unto thee, O young man, for whosoever honors the sanctity of those 10 days, it will be equal to his liberating 10 slaves daily, and fasting consecutively for 2 days, is equal to sacrificing 100 camels in the way of the Lord and giving 100 horses to defend the faith in God. He who goes to inquire about a sick man, it will be equal to go enquiring the welfare of an apostle of God. He who takes part in the funeral of any one during these days, it will be equal to attend the funeral of an apostle of God or a martyr. And he who feeds anyone in these 10 days, it will be equal to feeding an apostle of God. Besides the mystic importance of the day and the 10 nights given above, on the authority of the Holy Prophet, there is the fact that a mere mention of the break of a day may sound too simple and without any significance, but those who reflect intelligently on the phenomenon of the daybreak and passing away of the night, with regard to the functioning of the earth in harmony with the other heavenly bodies in the solar system, and the great change in time effected regularly every day without fail, resurrecting the world once again for the fulfillment of the great plan of the Almighty Author of the universe, will know the significance of the occasion. The commentators have different views regarding the dawn, 10 nights and the passing of nights. Most of them are of the opinion that reference is to the pilgrimage period from the break of the dawn of the first day of Zul Hajjah, up to the 30th night of the month, but the point is that from the 1st up to the 8th of Zul Hajjah, no particular rite is to be performed therein. The Umrah Ultimatu can be performed in one of these days or even before the commencement of the month of Zul Hajjah. Some have taken the reference to the month of Ramadan and its last 10 nights that is also arbitrary. Some have given a different interpretation of esoteric character, referring to the 14 infallible ones of the house of the Holy Prophet. Fajr, the dawn, the Holy Prophet, and Shaf, i.e. the two brothers Hassan and Husain, and water, Fatima, 10 nights, Ali and the other imams of the house, who have been termed here as nights because, in spite of their being in the highest esteem with God, most of the people were in darkness about them. The passing away, night, would be a prophecy about the ending of the period of darkness and appearance of the last Imam. This interpretation has no authentic support from the Al-Bayt. AP. Verse 3. This is another mystic expression. It may mean all things, for in them are the even and odd ones, or it may mean the opposites in sexes and energies and the other qualities in men, material and the natural phenomena active in the universe. Verse 4. The state invites attention to the great change in the effect of the daily functioning of the heavenly bodies, brought on earth regularly in a system ordained by the Almighty Creator Lord of the universe. Verse 5. This verse clearly indicates that the above expressions are purely mystic for the deeper consideration of Those endowed with higher intellect, to know the secrets treasured in them and hold them for the proper use by them in their endeavor for spiritual progress. Hal, here stands for assertion, similar to Surah 76. Higr, controlling power, relating to that aspect of intellect which prevents man from wishful and fanciful thinking. AP. Verse 6-7. This is a reference to what befell the people, Ad of the city Aram, who were the people of the Arab antiquity, the Ad and Thamud. They were powerful but rebelled against God's laws and were persistent in their arrogance and godlessness. The people were of tall stature and were proud of their strength and power. 8. Verse 8. The story of Ad is said to be that Ad, son of Awz, son of Aram, son of Sam, son of Noah. The people were called after Ad. Ad had 2 sons, Shaddad and Shadid. Shadid died and Shaddad became the ruler in the earth, with several governors under him, and claimed himself to be God, and his people had to worship him. God sent an apostle to admonish Shaddad, but he did not amend his faith and conduct. The apostle said that if he gets obedient to God he would be admitted to paradise. Shaddad asked the apostle what was meant by paradise. The apostle gave a description of the blissful place and the enjoyments that are there for the righteous. Shaddad said that he also could prepare one like it, and exhausting all his resources prepared a vast garden with special attractions and a large number of beautiful buildings with beautiful women therein. When the garden got ready, Shaddad named it Aram and started to go and see it. As he approached the outer gate of it, and only one step of his he had put across the threshold, a violent shout made him shiver with dread, and he found a dreadful face before him and said that he was the angel of death come there to take his soul out of his body. Shaddad pleaded for a respite just to see the garden, but the angel said no. Now and here Shaddad wanted to get down from his horse, and when one foot of his was in the stirrup and the other was about to touch the ground, his soul was out of his body. The garden was caused by God to disappear. Ms. The city of the people was so beautiful and so great that there did not exist the like of it anywhere in the world. Verse 9. The Thamud, used to carve buildings out of the huge rocks in the mountains. 9. The apostle sent to them was Salah. Reference to Pharaoh in the fall he met. 10. Verse 10. Pharaoh used to kill everyone who believed in the true God and disbelieved in his Godhead, by nailing them to the ground or a post. Hence, he is called the nailer. Among the victims were Eskiel's wife with her 6 children, and Asia the Pharaoh's wife. All were martyred. Eskiel, who is popularly known as the Momin al-Pharaon, i.e. the believer among the people of Pharaoh, escaped into the mountains. Verse 11-13. Generalize the previous examples, meaning, anyone who commits inordinacy and commits civil disturbance and creates mischief in the society, and in verse 13, gives the consequence, and in verse 14, warns man to be careful, to beware that God is vigilant. AP. Verse 14. Though God's punishment for the disbelievers and the wicked might have been delayed, the delay is only a respite. It never means that God has neglected or left the rebellious ones once for all. It is His grace that does not make haste in the punishment, and when ultimately it has to come, it surely comes. Verse 15. It is commonly seen in the world that man, in spite of God's grace and mercy done to him and the bounties showered on man, when given prosperity, forgets the beneficent Lord, the giver of all his wealth and happiness, and gets puffed up with his prosperity and thinks that what was given to him was his due and will last forever. Verse 16. And when man is given in the measure, restricted to his actual needs or according to the situation, circumstanced by himself, but not up to his own lust and expectation, he is depressed in the adversity, putting the blame upon God.